So here's your POV. You're on a first date and you're the first one to arrive. You're sitting there at the table of the restaurant, coffee shop, or bar, looking at the door and waiting for her to walk in. What should you be looking for from the moment she walks in to paying the check and leaving that will tell you if she's a good woman? Gentlemen, that is the topic of today's video. Lately, I've been on a bit of a spree with dating and I've had many first dates. And from this experience, I've learned to recognize certain patterns of behavior and actions that typically indicate to me whether she would be a good candidate for myself or a gentleman like you. At first, some of these things might seem a little superficial or shallow, but they actually reveal deeper things about her personality that you ought to consider. So here is the first thing to look for in a woman on a first date. Is she wearing a dress? 100% of my recent first dates that have led to a second date have turned up wearing a dress. My type of woman is a classy, feminine, elegant woman, and they typically don't turn up wearing jeans or trousers to dinner. Now, they don't have to be wearing a dress, it can be some other type of elegant outfit, but they must show effort with their appearance. After all, that's the standard I hold myself to. On most first dates, I will wear a suit and tie like I'm doing right now, so if she turns up wearing jeans or, God forbid, sweatpants, we would look really strange together, and she's definitely not my type of girl. You can normally predict how a date is going to go within the first 90 seconds, and what she wears will form a big part of your first impression. So if she hasn't made an effort with her clothing, hair and makeup to make a good first impression, that shows a negative attitude, I think. I don't expect women to get dolled up to the nines like it's their wedding day on a first date, but she must meet your standards and preferences for physical presentation. Number 2, it amazes me the number of women who can't do this. I'm talking about taking a sip of their drink without spilling it down themselves. You're looking for a woman with class, dignity, and grace, someone who can represent you and someone you can be proud of. A small action like spilling a drink or not holding a wine glass the correct way might not seem like a big deal, but it's actually an indicator that she is not well versed in social etiquette. And unless you're willing to teach her, she's probably not the right woman for a gentleman. You should also pay attention to her table manners, how she uses a knife and fork, and if she speaks to the waitstaff, is she rude or is she polite? Bear in mind, gentlemen, she is also likely paying attention to how you do these things, so be sure to be on good form. The third sign to look for is she a good conversationalist? Conversation is the most important thing on a date, along with attraction. How much you enjoy talking to each other will form a huge part of your compatibility, and it's essential for rapport and chemistry, which I'll come onto in a moment. So, does she ask questions about you? How does she respond when you share something that's personal to you? Is she able to have an intellectual conversation? Or does she only want to talk about Netflix, star signs, and Trader Joe's? Is there laughter and a feeling of connection? So these are all important things to look out for. I'll be honest with you, I recently went on 3 dates with the same woman before I realized, hang on a minute, I don't think this woman knows anything about me. Our conversations had mostly revolved around her and more superficial things, and to be honest, she was a lot younger than me, and I think she was just lacking the emotional maturity to be a good partner for me. So, good conversation is essential to enjoy the date, but it's also a sign that she can be a good communicator in a relationship. There are non-verbal types of communication you also need to look out for on the date. Does she make eye contact with you? Is she present and engaged, or is she distracted? And hopefully not, but if she's going on her phone, that's a pretty bad sign. And during the conversation, make a mental note of things she says that might be warning signs or red flags. So are all of her exes crazy? Does she have a terrible relationship with her family? These are clues that she might have personal problems that she has not yet addressed. To give you an example, I recently went on a first date with a woman who said that the week prior to our date, she had been in 2 car accidents and she was driving in both of them. 2 accidents in 1 week. Gentlemen, some women come with their own warning labels. You should take the time to read them. Okay, the fourth thing you need to look out for on a first date is, do you have chemistry with this woman? There's a lot more to attraction than physical beauty and good conversation. You can think a woman is very pretty and you can enjoy talking to her, but you don't have that burning desire to see her again. This X factor is what we call chemistry. I urge men to be more in tune with this and pay attention to the levels of chemistry they feel before taking things further. Chemistry and attraction can build over time, but in the early stages of dating, it's always something I look for, and unfortunately, it is rather hard to find. On the majority of first dates I go on, I do not feel any levels of chemistry, and to be honest with you, it's probably the most frustrating part of dating. The fifth and final sign that you need to look out for on a first date is, how does she respond to the check? The way she responds to the check will tell you quite a bit about the kind of woman she is. There are typically 3 responses you will encounter. 1, she leaves you to pay the check, but says thank you. 2, she offers to split or contribute. Or 3, she lets you get the check and does not say thank you. You are looking for either the first or the second response. If she does offer to split, I encourage you to still pay the bill, but it's that appreciation that we're looking for. Even if she is a traditional woman who expects you to pay, there is nothing traditional about ingratitude. I cannot imagine going to a restaurant and having somebody else pay for my dinner in any context without saying thank you. But in dating, it's sadly not a rare occurrence. So I think the standard response you can expect is that she'll leave you to get the check and say thank you, I enjoyed the meal, but it is a nice gesture if she does offer to pay, and personally it only makes me all the more happy to pay the check because I know that she appreciates it. Gentlemen, I want to hear from you in the comments. What signs are you looking for on a first date? And if you're a married man, I would love it if you could share a story about your early dating days with your wife when she did something or said something that really impressed you and made you realize that she was the one. Also, let me know if you would enjoy another video where I discuss the qualities that a gentleman should look for in a long-term partner or wife. We can get into a deeper discussion about the values and characteristics that you should look for. I'm talking about their communication skills, political beliefs, ideas about family, and much, much more. Until the next time, thank you for watching.